So you think you know bowling. You think that there's nothing more to be learned from the age-old sport of knocking down pins with the ball. The primal urge to strike up rather than strike out. To dominate those lanes with your giant, shiny balls. Well, sorry friend, but until you've mastered the art of Flintstones Bedrock bowling, you've not even begun to scratch the surface of the bowl. The toilet bowl, that is. Anyway, Bedrock Bowling is a game released for PlayStation and PC that really goes the extra mile in doing everything it can to not be bowling, with the basic concept of using dexterity and skill to throw a ball down a lane and hit some pins, and turn it into a game where you have to control the ball manually, navigate an obstacle course and then hit some pins, pick up gems and run over birds along the way. Animal abuse aside, it's nothing like bowling. The shock. The story is that Fred wants to go bowling, but can't because his boss, Mr. Slate, wants him to do work at his job. The bastard. But luckily, their magical little green friend Kazoo turns up and suggests that they can dig the quarry and go bowling. He then promptly fixes one of their problems by digging the quarry for them and then presents them with a game that just isn't bowling. I hate to be the horrible cynic once again, but he's dug the quarry for them. Now they can just go bowling. Not play the alien bastardization of bowling where you go-kart in a stone pot through a crystal mine. Also, again, not to be the horrible cynic, but why is Mr. Slate asking him to dig a quarry in a movie drive-thru or Fred's own back garden? Are we working for a literal madman here? Story aside, I'm glad they decided to go the extra mile instead of making the world's most generically themed bowling game, but this just isn't bowling. It's Mario Kart without the opponents. I don't think I need to tell you how to play bowling, but the goal is always to knock down the pins, no matter how far apart the game puts them. There's also gems out there too, and the birds are there to allow you to continue playing at the halfway point in the course. If you miss any of the 3 birds, then you lose a lot of points because it cuts off half the lane, which is really all we're playing for here.
Well done. Aren't you just the bowling wizard?
The game begins with you choosing your character, and it doesn't really matter which one you go for. There's no stats involved, just annoying voice lines done by the actual cast. I chose Barney because he always did me good in Soul Calibur 6.
Weaklings must taste death.
I love it when he says that in the show.
Execution! Weaklings should shut up and die.
But let's focus on the elephant in the room, or the mammoth. It's the aesthetics. Some games have some, and some games don't, and this game looks like the visual representation of a nightmare a caveman had about the future. This is one of the ugliest games I've bothered to play, and it's so abrasive on so many levels, with the texture warping making it seem like reality is just breaking down all around you. The game's pop-in can be pretty bad in some sections, and since the game moves you forwards on your own, it feels like you're being dragged towards your doom through a carnival house of Neolithic horrors.
Whoa!
The sound effects on levels like the freeway cut in like someone snuck up behind you and set off a pneumatic drill, and then cut immediately afterwards like a random jump scare without the build-up. I know the PlayStation isn't exactly a graphical powerhouse, but compare this to Crash Team Racing. Fuck, now I want to play Crash Team Racing. But what you ask of the gameplay? Worry not, the game's not challenging in the traditional way. All you need to do is move left and right, and if you're feeling particularly daring, press X to speed up, since the game pushes you forwards on its own. It's challenging in the way that it's challenging to control. Movement is more of a gentle persuasion when you suggest a bowling ball go in a specific direction. For something Kazoo states is really high-tech in the realms of his alien world, it sure feels like rolling a half boulder down a hill. It's really clunky and unresponsive, and if you're trying to move back up after falling off a high area, you might as well forget it, because no amount of magically infused balls will be able to defeat mankind's greatest enemy, gravity. You have to start moving so early before you start to haul bowl to the other side of the course, but once you've got this down, then at least an easy mode has no more challenges for you. There are some levels that are just no fun, like Fred's swimming pool and the Water Buffalo Lodge, which is so annoying to deal with that I'd rather just ruin my score for the previous levels so I don't have to actually do them. The Water Buffalo Lodge is the worst level because it requires you to bounce around on springs with broken physics while a buffalo slaps you around in the arena like a game of prehistoric pinball. This is as far away from bowling as you can possibly get. At least the regular levels still can call themselves lanes, sort of. Though the gameplay is just hit things with bowl, get points, I guess. If you dumb it down a ton and squint really hard, maybe it's a little like bowling. But since I had some free time and a burning curiosity, I went back a second time to see if I could beat the game without actually using the controller. That's right, thanks to the game making you move forwards on your own, I just chose Pebbles in easy mode and sat it down to see if the game could beat itself. And besides one point where she got stuck on a car, she beat the game on her own. They grow up so fast. My score obviously sucked in comparison to the one where I was actually playing, by 85,000 points, but there you go. Why watch a Let's Play when you can just buy the game and then not play it? Setting the game to medium was fatal though, since it forces a game over if you don't get a high enough score. Bedrock Bowling is a game that exists, sadly. If you want a game that combines the slow-paced action of every really lame karting game with the tedium of something that wants to be bowling that isn't, then this might be the game for you, but even if it is, you should probably just play Super Monkey Ball instead.